Issue 43, Stormbringer magazine. We're branching out with new tree revenants. Hello and welcome to The Lucky Roll, an eclectic channel for eclectic games, and today we're going to be doing issue 43 of our continuing series of Hachette's Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormbringer magazine. Now this issue comes with 5 tree revenants, which we've painted and we'll show in a minute, but also it has some little interesting bits of lore. So the lore in this occasion focuses on the Sylvaneth, and it goes through the 4 different ages, that the Sylvaneth have endured. The first one is the Age of Myth, which was a season of peace and prosperity in the beginning, in which Ariel, the Ever-Queen, was awoken by Sigmar. She joined his divine alliance and travelled the lands, founding the Sylvaneth Glades. But unfortunately, the Glades, like any human faction, had differences, and those differences turned to division, and it led to open warfare, as the different Glades battled each other for supremacy. And these divisions were also echoed amongst the gods as they turned to their own interests. Alariel retreated from the weakened alliance and took counsel with her trusted servants. So the Age of Myth so far back was prosperous, but again turned divisive. After the Age of Myth you had the Age of Chaos, known as the Season of Despair, in which the Sylvaneth were driven to the brink of extinction. The gods of chaos exploited the weaknesses in Sigmar's alliance to enter the realms and plunge the entire realms into darkness. After the Age of Chaos, there was the Age of Sigmar himself. So it began as a season of titanic struggle and war, and as his heavenly armies fought to retake the realms, the forces of chaos found Athelwerd. At first, the fate of the Sylvaneth seemed to be sealed, and Alariel, despairing, shriveled into a form of a soul pod. However, she wasn't giving up. What she was doing was she was kind of pulpating. Before the armies of chaos could despoil the entire lands and secure total victory over the Sylvaneth, she burst forth from her soul pod, reborn to lead and inspire her armies to even greater victories. So like Sigmar, she took a rest, came back, and is now ready for what is the era of the beast, basically the latest era, the latest age, where the Sylvaneth are here living in a seasons of vengeance, and they are in the ascendancy. So they're back and basically kicking arse. We have here also the Perils of Chaos. Now I like this because this section is called Perils, and it's written as though you're an acolyte reading about these things for the first time. So you have here a little bit of warning, basically telling you what the dangers of chaos is, telling you a little bit about Sigmar and the eternal enemy, and a little warning here to be ever vigilant. So I like the first person kind of aspect of it, because it's not you reading about someone reading about the rules, it's you as a possible acolyte reading about the rules and the information on chaos that they give to people. You have here the tree revenants themselves. So as you can see, there's different households, different glades, different things like that you can come up with. You have unit traits. You have the how to build guide. Now there's a lot of variability in it. So it's an interesting sprue that can kind of give you different things to work with and paint with. So you have, it's a complicated enough little build guide, not desperately complicated, but it's bitty. So when you're snipping it, be careful and be gentle, because there's a lot of little twisty bits that would be a shame if you broke them off because you were just too quick in trying to take them out. You have the how to paint guide, which goes over several pages. You have the war scroll for the Sylvaneth, and you have, of course, the war scroll tutorial and the Realm Scout Duarden mechanisms, which is basically the latest battle plan for this issue. So with no further ado, let's have a look at the minis themselves. And they're very nice, very cool little minis. You don't need a desperate amount of paints, but you would be best off working with a kind of a light base like Corax White or Wraithbone to kind of base the entire mini with. I've put Dryad Bark on as the actual bark for the trees, followed by a little bit of Gorthor Brown for highlights. The glow I've done is with a kind of a Tesseract glow mixed with something called Lamian Medium, which is kind of a contrast paint that waters it down and makes it a little bit more transparent. So I'm a bit more happier with these guys than I was with the last ones, because the Tesseract glow kind of glided out a little further. So it's interesting because even the weapons are kind of part of the spiritual aspect. They're clad in kind of tree bark armor, but the vulnerable parts, of course, are the person themselves inside the armor and possibly the weapon, which obviously is not a vulnerability. And they have something akin to kind of power claws and hands in the sense that they can kind of swipe at you with them. But very cool little minis. Quite enjoyable. I never would have kind of painted these. I've never really had any interest in the Sylvaneth, but thanks to this magazine, I've kind of done it, and they're pretty cool, I have to say. There's a real kind of creative style here to these minis. I mean, Games Workshop really went above and beyond in kind of designing these kind of tree nature monster things, and there's a lot of really cool poses, and of course they're interchangeable. So the weapons, you have different weapons options on the sprues. So I kind of followed the magazine as it gave me, but there's nothing stopping you from kind of turning some of the limbs around. Like these limbs here with the tree branch arms are a bit more they're a bit more adjustable than this arm, because this arm kind of just secures straight to the torso the way it is. The head secures to the torso the way it is. So there's not much scope and or room to maneuver here, but you can turn this arm around if you want a little bit of variability. But nevertheless, quite happy with these. They look pretty cool. You have here a pipe player. So, I mean, there is kind of cool little things, and this was kind of mentioned in the War Scroll aspect as well, as how to best utilize the pipe player in your different actions in different games. So yeah, really cool kind of scary little monster, well, not monsters, but cool kind of Sylvaneth things. Now this guy, I made a slight mistake because I have the banner, instead of standing up tall and proud, it's kind of off to the side a little bit, but I just kind of liked it. I can't explain why, but it's just a case like that he's raising it up. They're getting ready to move, or that maybe he's putting the banner to one side, getting ready to clock whatever's coming for it with this kind of axe. But I just like the fact that it was sloped, because it kind of gave a sense of a little bit more life purpose or something to it. But nevertheless, the banner is pretty cool. Again, that would be the base color that it would have done, and that's the Tesseract glow that would kind of shade it a little bit. But because you're basing already a third of the model in white, it's actually not as slow to build and paint and make as you would think. I would give you a warning in terms of putting the bodies together. The branches are actually very kind of intertwining. So if you're putting two halves of a body together and say the branches are curved like that, they'll link in a little bit like this. So make sure you dry fit the torsos of the minis before you actually do them. So do it once or twice, because they're lovely minis, but they could be a little bit delicate because of the little branch thing, so they might snap if you're a little bit too harsh. But anyway, that, ladies and gentlemen, was issue 43. As always, if you enjoy these videos, please like, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. And until next time, good luck, God bless, and see you for issue 44.